version of Chael Sonnen we've ever seen.
We've not seen Nate Marquardt controlled like this in a long time.
Oh, he's getting beat up. This is a beatdown.
With the upset victory over Marquardt, Chael Sonnen catapulted himself up the middleweight rankings and earned the right to face the winner of the championship title fight between Anderson Silva and Vitor Belfort.
I hope Anderson wins because I think Vitor is a lot tougher fighter. So if I had to choose between the two, I'm going to take the low road and take the easier opponent to get to the championship.
And Sonnen got his wish. Due to a shoulder injury, Belfort was forced to withdraw from his bout with Silva, while the Spider defeated his replacement, Damian Maia, in a mockery of a fight. The stage was now set for Sonnen to hype up the title fight.
His running is done. His 15 minutes of fame are up, and I'm going to bring it to an abrupt halt. If it wasn't for me, Anderson Silva would be on the unemployment line logging on to monster.com posting a resume right now. Anderson's a liar, and Anderson's a fraud.
He's got a black belt under the Nogueira brothers.
Yeah.
I think a black belt under the Nogueira brothers is saying I got a free toy in my Happy Meal.
There's this dirtbag named Anderson Silva. When Anderson Silva walks into a room, you could hear a rat piss on cotton.
Amidst a variety of controversial comments and tweets, he was also in the middle of a political campaign, running as a Republican in Oregon's House of Representatives, one which he won unopposed. But a tenure that would come to an abrupt end on June 16th, when the 33-year-old stated that he was resigning due to a legal issue relating to a 2006 real estate case. So Sonnen remained focused on one goal, to physically prepare for his toughest fight to date, while kicking his trash talk to another level. But on August 3rd, just days before the fight, his gift of gab would land him in hot water.
When you screw up and you somehow, take Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong did a number of things, and he gave himself cancer. Okay, Lance Armstrong cheated, he did drugs, he gave himself cancer.
His outlandish comments incensed the media, but according to Sonnen, he was innocent.
I've never spoke of Lance Armstrong ever. Of Lance Armstrong. Never. Not until just now.
With interest in the title fight reaching an all-time high, Saturday, August 7th had finally arrived as Sonnen got his chance at championship glory.
This is what Chael's best at, that wrestling background. And he's hitting him with some big shots. And he's takes him down again. Watch out. Triangle. This is trouble. This is trouble. Get his legs across. That's what's... He's down. It's all over. It is all over. Anderson Silva remains middleweight champion.
I'm only here to be number one. If I'm not the best, I'm going to move on in life. We'll go back and reevaluate, but for now, I got the silver medal.
Chael Sonnen deserved to be here tonight. He talked a lot of smack and came in and backed it up and proved it. He was less than 2 minutes away from winning the fight.
Chael Sonnen had arrived and raised his stock level to one of the sport's most marketable commodities. But just over a month later, a shadow would be cast over his accomplishments when news broke that he had tested positive for elevated levels of testosterone.
Obviously, I was very bummed out when I heard, one of the fights that's up for Fight of the Year, one of the greatest fights anybody's ever seen, where Chael dominates for 4.75 rounds of the fight, and then Anderson Silva, in pound-for-pound best fighter in the world fashion, pulls off an armbar with like a minute something left. And then for a great fight like this to be tarnished, it sucks. Trust me, the Athletic Commission is going to make an example of him.
And that's exactly what they did, handing Sonnen a one-year suspension, extinguishing any hope of an instant rematch against the champ. But this is Chael Sonnen, and while he was originally given a one-year suspension, along with a $2,500 fine, he appeared before the commission on December 2nd, convincing them that what he did was medically necessary, subsequently scoring a moral victory as his suspension was cut in half. But this was a battle that paled in comparison to another one looming outside of the octagon. With the UFC set to announce Sonnen's return to action at UFC 128 versus Yoshihiro Akiyama, the MMA world was stunned yet again as on January 3rd, Sonnen, a licensed realtor, would plead guilty to money laundering, an offense that carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison, as well as a fine of $500,000. The UFC had apparently had enough of the Chael Sonnen show, suspending him shortly thereafter, as Dana White would tell TMZ. Chael Sonnen has gone through a lot in the last few months, and we think it's important for him to focus on getting his personal life together before focusing on his career in the UFC. In the interim, Sonnen has a plea bargain in place that will hand him 2 years probation, a $10,000 fine, and his real estate license revoked. His fate as a free man will be determined on March 28th at a sentence hearing in his home state of Oregon.